burn it at both ends. I like the fire causing mayhem. I'm not tired, I've been waiting. I'm not forsaken, I'm my own and I'm jaded. Energy comes from my hatred. Call me the villain, cause I be killing. I got no feeling, I've been dealing with all my demons. I like to feed them, they be chilling. Yeah, they be screaming, I can hear them in my mind. They just wanna find any fight, any reason.
Dark side, there ain't no place to hide. All your fears are electrified. Welcome to the hard side, where it's all do or die. We're the shadow to the light. I can feel it in my bones. I'm addicted to the thirst. I ain't never letting go, even when it hurts. This is my curse.
Have to be working to deserve it. Adrenaline is surging, ain't no servant. I'm the king, bring me everything that I've ever wanted, that I need. I believe I could be anything, watch me. Give me a second to blow, give me a second to grow. Be at the top of the show, be at the top like a pro. I flip the switch, different mode, no they ain't laughing, no joke. Cause I attack when they won't.
Welcome to the dark side, there ain't no place to hide. All your fears are electrified. Welcome to the hard side, where it's all do or die. We're the shadow to the light. I can feel it in my bones. I'm addicted to the thirst. I ain't never letting go, even when it hurts. This is my curse.
I work blind, got vision I don't need to see. I'm picking mind over matter, I believe in me. I need to find more hours in the day to breathe. Need to find more power in the way I be. And when my mind turns sour with the painful scenes, I need to scream out loud, I can't stop me. I wanna be the greatest like Rocky. You know I leave them all hating like a hobby. I'm out here making moves like a lobby. And if you ain't with me, it's your loss. See, I got my mind on the facts, I'm a python, grab what I like real fast. Choke until I have everything I attack, everything that I lack, everything that I want, and I see, matter of fact.
Cause I'm my own worst enemy. Only if I let it be. I can control anything if I can just think carefully. I control my destiny.
Hello and welcome to My Mind Over Your Matter. My name is Rick, and let's get this show started. Let's put this phone to charge. Hope you guys had a great week and a great day. Today I felt like crap. This rain was not a friend of mine today. It was probably one of the most heaviest rainstorms we had in a while here. Um, it just really sucked because I was just really out of it all day today, and it is what it is. Let's see here. See the comments real quick. Hey, what's up, Albie? How you doing, man? Hope you're doing good. Um, let's go ahead and jump right to it. You know, today is the day where Three Eye Atlas is making its closest approach to Earth. Big, beautiful thing. It's pretty close to Earth, and yet zero news from mainstream media. No one's talking about it. It's like if you're talking about it, you're a weirdo. Ah, I'm a weirdo. Ah, are you fucking crazy? Like the media is zero. The distractions because of Epstein. Everyone's going crazy now because oh my god, they're releasing thousands upon thousands of evidence of Epstein, and nobody's paying attention to 3A Atlas. Like, what is the biggest distraction you guys are playing here with this Epstein bullshit? Continuously with the same bullshit, but yeah, we have something that's more greater than what happened ever on this planet. Probably bigger than the freaking story of Jesus that's passing in our universe and our like solar system, and yet zero reports, zero news, nothing from NASA, nothing from the United States. Like, what in the fuck is going on? I don't get it, man. I just don't get it. It's just what a waste of space if we don't even fucking pay attention to it. I'm telling you, man, we're doomed. We are all doomed no matter what. Listen, we're gonna die no matter what, so it's all good. Let's go to about depth. Let's go to what happened yesterday with Greg Biffle with his plane crashing. Let's go ahead and check this out.
We are remembering the life and legacy of former NASCAR driver Greg Biffle after he, his family, and 3 others died in a crash Thursday morning. Let's get you caught up on what you need to know. Right now, the National Transportation Safety Board is on the ground in Statesville to try to figure out what went wrong. This is new video taken in the last hour from Chopper 9 showing investigators on the scene. The aircraft still on the runway and dark tread marks leading to it. We expect to have a briefing later on this afternoon, and we will bring you that live as soon as they are up. We know Greg Biffle's wife, Christina, their 14-year-old daughter, Emma, and 5-year-old son, Ryder, all died in the crash.
Oh, man, that sucks.
Thomas Sutton and his son, Jack, and Craig Wadsworth, who worked in the NASCAR community. Channel 9 cut in the programming yesterday morning as this all unfolded. Our Dave Faraday was there 20 minutes after the call went out and is live in Statesville again today. Dave?
Joe, the NTSB, as you mentioned, they've been out here for about 2 hours now. If you look behind me, you can see they're off in the distance. They started around the plane and then head across the street here. There's a golf course right over in this direction. That is the direction that the plane was trying to get back into the airport. We actually saw some damage on the golf course earlier. Take a look at some of this video. Shortly after we arrived Thursday morning at the Statesville Regional Airport, the Highway Patrol says 7 people died in the fiery crash, including former NASCAR driver Greg Biffle and his family. This morning, we could see several investigators with the NTSB around the plane, and then they headed across the street onto the golf course. You might be able to see some of that video here. Investigators looked at the damage to one of the towers where the planes approached the end of the runway that appeared to be snapped off at the top. We know from Flight Aware that the plane took off at 10:06 from Statesville Regional, and then the crash happened 9 minutes later. I've also spoken with several eyewitnesses in the area this morning who described the plane having engine issues as it came back in.
I heard his engine sputtering in and out. And in the next instance, I heard the big explosion and the crash. And then looked out the window, there were fires all the way following him.
And you're looking at some live pictures of those investigators with the NTSB, along with the FAA around the plane right now, going over the crash scene here at Statesville Regional Airport. We were told by the NTSB earlier that they plan on having a press briefing at some point this afternoon where we're hoping to learn more details about what led to this tragic accident. Reporting live from Statesville, I'm Dave Verity, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
And Dave, I just got that press conference info. It's at 3 p.m. at the Statesville room in the Hilton Garden Inn. We'll send that to you in email, but 3 o'clock is when that press conference will be. We'll take it here live on Channel 9. Thank you, Dave. And we know through flight radar systems, Biffle's plane crashed after a short flight. In this graphic, you can see the plane climb and follow a path along I-40.
I know everyone's saying the same thing. It looks like a racetrack.
Before turning back to Statesville Regional Airport, that entire flight took about 7 minutes.
Wow. You know, if you didn't know who Greg Biffle is, I'll show you guys who he was and what he was about. Here we go.
The storm was fast and furious. In late September 2024, Hurricane Helene closed in on the last left turn. Get down! Barely the finish line. Western North Carolina. A couple hours away in quiet Mooresville, a race against time began with a text.
September 28th. Right there it is. Got this from a friend. You want to go flying today?
It was the first caution of what was to come for NASCAR legend Greg Biffle, a master of brakes who also happens to have blades.
When I got hired by Jack Roush, he was a huge aviation nut, which sparked my interest and finally started taking flight lessons.
For years, Biffle flew to racetracks to avoid traffic. Then, after semi-retirement, he sold his bird.
And it was just bugging me and burning me up.
All while fate was still watching from the grandstands.
I bought it about 6 months or so prior to Hurricane Helene.
Someone of faith might say it was meant to be, like God gave you that helicopter at the right time.
It still gives me goosebumps thinking about it. How it all, what if this wouldn't happen and that and that and that, just how everything came together.
All because of that initial text request for a pilot to help one family trapped in Banner Elk.
They were out of formula diapers and the road was washed out. Then my wife came up and said, "Are you going to go?" is all she said. And I just felt like if I don't go, who's going to?
So you did go. What did you see when you got there?
The weather was really bad.
And a Facebook post he had made before takeoff was brewing a storm of its own.
I got 4,000, 5,000 messages within an hour and a half. I haven't heard from my parents. I haven't heard from my brother or sister or neighbor or grandparents or relative.
Oh my
From
God.
drift, face familiar danger, threading through treacherous terrain as tight as bumpers at Daytona.
There's no recollection of a road, an embankment, no ledge, no bridge, no anything for miles down these canyons. And we see people walking with backpacks.
Wow.
Trying to get out.
Index cards with rough coordinates acting as pace notes. One mission turned into 6 to 8 a day for 13 days, pulling out people while dropping off food, medicine, and Starlink satellites.
So Starlink came up, their phones came on, and they literally started talking to their parents. And it's kind of chilling to think about that no one knew whether they were still alive or not.
The satellites also helped Biffle scour his social media for more tips.
And all of a sudden, I find myself at like almost the center of this crisis management.
He's the one that passed away. That's
more eyes in the sky. Nonprofit Operation Airdrop got hundreds of volunteer pilots to search tricky terrain where military Blackhawks and Chinooks couldn't land. Tabor Hyde is an American Airlines commercial pilot who grew up near New York.
It really hit close to home and personal. I had one family, their house was in a landslide falling off the mountain, and the dad was waving a red flag on the roof. I loaded the kids up first and flew them down the mountain about a mile away and left them in a field. I was like, do not move, stay right here. I'm gonna come back and get your parents. Once we got them off of there, 5 minutes later, their house was gone.
So many close calls, so much desperation.
I was in probably some of the most difficult terrain that we had been in. We had someone that needed insulin. I catch out of the corner of my eye, on the very bottom of this basin, I think I see a flash. So we circled around, back around, and sure enough, I see this guy. We see this guy at the very bottom of this ravine was flashing us. It had that mirror. No way we would have saw him.
On the track, a delay in the pit can cost you the race, right? But in the air, a delay getting up can cost a life.
The hardest thing was when I went home at night and landed in the dark, because we just couldn't fly anymore, was my mind wouldn't shut off.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there at my counter
about everything he could do to help,
looking through my phone, just overwhelmed. Like, wow, what am I gonna do next?
Eventually, his helicopter missions turned to ground support. Still,
I wish I was flying now, but I spent a tremendous amount of time sitting in this seat.
he went back to the mountains at Easter.
Wow. The most fulfilling thing that I could do was drop 4,000 Easter eggs.
And since Helene
Aww.
keeps essentials close, just in case.
Benadryl was a huge request.
How do you think your experience in NASCAR and racing in general really aided in your ability to do this and do it well?
There's no, we're going to be late, or we're not going to get done in time. There are no obstacles in front of us that we can't accomplish.
No checkered flag, no victory lap in Helene. Simply hope at the stripe. Because heroes who don't wear capes figured out how to fly. Megan Molaris, WFMY News 2.
Wow. Look, throwing the eggs down. Oh my God. Now, it gave you a little insight of who this person was and why he meant so much to the NASCAR world. Greg Biffle was a really cool dude. I mean, I really liked his racing, especially in the 2000s. And I was happy when he won his championship. So I congratulate him. And, he's on to his next life. It's good guys always go pretty early in their lives, right? Good guys don't last. Good guys die fast. They die quick and short time. But thank you, Greg Biffle, for everything you did for the people of North Carolina, especially after Hurricane Helene, where not even our government, Joe fucking Biden, didn't do shit for North Carolina. Nothing. And the fact those people, like, the people from North Carolina, got together, helped each other out. And like fucking Biden was at the beach doing nothing, didn't even send any military, didn't do nothing. And when he did send someone, he told them if they have a Republican or a Trump sign in the front yard, they won't even go there and help them. That's kind of like fucked up. But anyhow, let's keep it moving. See, we got another accident happen, a plane crash. It looks like in Mexico. Let's take a look at this footage. Yeah. Oh no. 10 people on board, including 3 young children, died. So out of those 10, those 3 young children.
Cayó una avioneta literal.
Oh my God.
Aterrizar aquí en el campo y no alcanzó y cayó, no sé si cayó ahí y llegó hasta allá, no creo, yo imagino que, o a lo mejor sí, es que no se ve ni siquiera, no tengo ni idea, pero fue un avionazo. San Pedro Totoltepec, no han llegado bomberos, sigue haciendo explosión. Está cabrón, un mar de gente. Acaba de llegar el helicóptero, el sonido de emergencia, No hay acceso para los bomberos, se necesita una pipa grande porque cayó un avión, se cayó una avioneta aquí en San Pedro Totoltepec, en el campo de fútbol, presumo que quiso aterrizar aquí para no causar estragos, pero desafortunadamente no lo lograron y llegaron hasta las edificaciones que están allá, que son naves industriales. Estamos esperando los servicios de bomberos que no llegan al lugar. Van llegando. Van llegando los servicios de bomberos aquí al lugar. Va a ser muy difícil que pasen los bomberos.
Wow. The plane was having trouble. That's where it crashed. Oh, man. That sucks. What's up with all these planes, right? All of a sudden, all the little planes have been falling also. Why are these planes falling off the sky? Like it's just been happening. It just brings me back all the memories of all the other plane crashes that happened. Like it's just amazing how, like,
well, actually we have here,
move this over here. It's just amazing how these planes just fall out the sky. They just literally fall. They just fell from the sky. It's just weird. It's just, I don't know. It's just like everything that's been happening, and then you see all these plane crashes, and it's just take a moment of silence, right? It's just so weird that you need to take a moment just to think. Because I tell you right now, it's just getting weirder. Check out this story here next. This is a weirdo.
We're working to learn more about the man who investigators say is responsible for the mass shooting at Brown University and the murder of an MIT professor in Brookline. Police tracked Claudio Manuel Neves Valente to a storage unit in Salem, New Hampshire, where they say he took his own life. Now, one of the big remaining questions, of course, his motive. We've got team coverage for you this afternoon. We begin with WBZ's Anna Myler in Salem.
This is where that intense multi-state manhunt finally came to an end. FBI SWAT team members found the suspect's body inside of a storage unit, dead from an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound. Officials say the tip that finally cracked this case was about the car the suspect rented. A dramatic end Thursday night to a 6-day search for the man wanted for a mass shooting at Brown University and the murder of an MIT professor 2 days later. The suspect, identified as Claudio Manuel Neves Valente, a 48-year-old Portuguese national living in the U.S. legally.
We got him.
Investigators say a helpful witness came forward and provided them with information about the suspect's car. That led them to a car rental place in Boston. They say the suspect signed the rental agreement with his own name.
And that person led us to the car, which led us to the name, which led us to the photographs of that individual renting the car, which matched the clothing of our shooter.
The president of Brown University says Neves Valente studied physics at the university in 2000. He took a leave of absence in 2001 and formally withdrew in 2003. On December 13th, officials say he opened fire inside the Barris and Hawley building, killing 2 students and injuring 9 others.
So I think it's safe to assume that this man, when he was a student, spent a great deal of time in that building for classes and other activities.
After the shooting, Neves Valente was sophisticated in covering his tracks, changing the license plate on his car, using an untraceable phone, and he didn't use credit cards in his name. Law enforcement officials say even though he is dead, the investigation is ongoing.
Our work is not done. There are many questions that need to be answered. There's a lot of evidence that needs to be processed.
Of course, the big question that remains is the motive. The president of Brown says that the suspect had no current affiliation with the school. In Salem, New Hampshire, Anna Myler, WBZ News.
And contrary to what they initially thought, investigators now say the gunman and the MIT professor did know each other and actually studied together in Portugal. WBZ's Penny Commit continues our team coverage live from Brookline. Penny, you actually spoke with one of the professor's neighbors?
Oh, my God.
Yeah, Chris, that's absolutely right. And this neighborhood, understandably shaken up. I asked them, do you feel better knowing that someone is in custody? And they said, honestly, no, not really. It's a reminder that these type of things can happen absolutely anywhere. It is believed that the MIT professor attended same 5 to 2000. They both studied physics, and it is believed that they knew one another. We want to show you a photo of 47-year-old Nuno Loureiro, who lived in Brookline with his 3 young kids, was reportedly shot Monday night, died Tuesday morning. Investigators say that the suspect drove straight from Brown University to video at a nearby apartment and pinged just about a half-mile away from the professor's home a day before the shooting. Brookline residents say they are glad a perpetrator who brought this violence into their community has been caught, but they're really eager, really on edge to hear a potential motive.
I think there's a story behind it. I think there's got to be a story behind it, right? Like, there's a reason this guy was targeted, and we need to figure that out. And if it's a reason
but what happened in Brown University too,
then we should be more scared. And if it's more personal to that guy individually, we should be less scared, I guess. But it just is a reminder that scary things could happen anywhere.
Yep, and your friends could even stab you in
The
the
shooter
back.
and Loureiro were also very similar in age, just about a year apart. Loureiro went on to become a pretty prominent name in the physics world, even leading one of MIT's largest labs.
That's
We're
what's
live in
up.
Brookline. I'm Penny Commit, WBZ News.
All right, Penny, thanks for that. Well, the Trump
that's the limit
administration
right
says
there.
the suspect was able to obtain a green card through a Visa lottery system. As CBS's Jared Hill shows us, the Department of Homeland Security is now making a major change to that program.
Yeah, they can't.
Chris and Paul, the Trump administration says the U.S. is pausing the diversity visa lottery program through which suspected mass shooter Claudio Neves Valente was allowed to stay in the U.S. and get his green card in 2017. The program launched in the 90s. It offers about 50,000 visas per year. Diversity in this context pertains to people from countries with relatively low rates of U.S. immigration. Portugal is one of dozens of European nations on that list. In order to qualify, a diversity visa applicant needs to have at least a high school education. They're also required to undergo vetting and an interview before getting a visa. President Trump has been critical of this program for years, arguing it could pose a security risk and isn't based enough on merit like employment-based.
I think America should be just
more than a decade before
ones
Neves
that are
Valente
born
got a
here.
diversity visa. He was admitted to the U.S. on a
And
student visa
foreigners
to
from
attend
other
grad school at Brown.
around the
That's
world.
according to the police affidavit. Now,
They're
the
the
future
true
of this
aliens.
diversity
They're
visa
coming
lottery
into our
program
country
is still
as
unclear.
aliens.
It can't completely be scrapped by the executive branch since it was created by Congress. Jared Hill, WBZ News.
They're gonna have to figure something out because that's bullshit. Let's keep it moving.
Welcome back, everyone, here to Live Now from Vox. I'm your host, Mike Page. Always great to be with you on this Friday evening as we continue to roll on. And what a night it was yesterday in New England as the manhunt for the suspected Brown University gunman is now over on day 6 of the search. A tip led police to a New Hampshire storage
Right?
facility more than 80 miles from
They didn't earn
campus,
it at all.
where they say they found the shooter dead from a
America is not a
self-inflicted
global piggy
gunshot
bank.
wound.
Fuck,
Officials also linking
that's
that
the
man
truth.
to the killing of an MIT professor near Boston on Monday night. So for more on this big story, let's go
Whoever
out
that
to
homeless
Providence,
guy
Rhode
is,
Island, where
he
Fox
should
2
not be
News'
homeless
Haley
anymore.
Schuyler has been
He should be
following this
taken care of
story and joins us
because he
with a
did
breakdown
more
of this
work.
wild day that happened
Hold on.
yesterday.
I don't want to miss this, and I want to speak. That homeless man did more fucking work on the ground than any FBI agent, than any police officer, more than Kash Patel. He felt that something was wrong. He knew something was up with this guy. He was acting suspicious. The homeless man was like, who would have thought a homeless man did a better job than fucking cameras? Did a better job than cameras. You know, when this incident happened and they had put someone, they got someone of interest, right? They had someone in custody. And I remember Kash Patel, like, yeah, we got our suspect, and he's being held, and this and this and that, and then they try to like pretty much plagiarize him and just put all his information. Oh yeah, he was military and this and that, and he was a sniper, and all this information was just coming out, right? And I was like, sniper? I go, if that guy was a sniper, then he was a horrible one because he only killed 2 and 9 live. Trust me, if you're a true sniper, no one lives. So that's when I knew something was up. Like something didn't feel right. I was like, this guy's a sniper in the military, and he missed 9. He let 9 people live. He missed 9, but got 2. That's one fucking horrible sniper. Oh Lord, horrible. But then that would they did that, I think, on purpose to throw like the deflection and to get the heat off of him and onto somebody else. So like no eyes were on the real person, and the one that was the innocent one was being held, and like all the focus went on him, and they try to like fucking ruin his life pretty much by putting all his information out there, and he was a part military, he was this and that, and you know, and the guy's innocent. The guy didn't even do it. He didn't do anything. He was innocent, and he was pleading his innocence, but they were like, no, it was you and this and that, and it was like it was a no-win with the government until there was a break in the case, and it was too late because then there was another shooting, and this was at MIT, and it was a physics professor over there. And then I was like, this has to, like, it has to be connected. Who like all of a sudden they're gonna go to one university and they're gonna go to another university, and those 2 universities are not too far apart. It had to have been something connected, and of course it was connected. And then apparently they found his body with a gunshot wound in a storage facility. I believe probably where he used to work. Who knows? I don't know, man. This world is fucking crazy, right? Like we're like, for me, I'm saying this is so distracting, right? Because all this stuff is so much distraction, right? Because they want to invest your emotions into it, and it sucks you in. But then I'm like, man, but 3i Atlas is like right there, and we're not paying attention to it. Like humanity is not paying attention to it, and it's all like distractions. And there's going to be more operations like this happening throughout the United States. You think this is just like, this is going to continue to happen? The bad guys are already here. They're easily, probably over 25,000 agents inside the United States operating right now. And they're brainwashing other people to join them. So that multiplies it to now maybe from 50 to maybe 100,000 probably agents, like sleeper cells that are operating in the United States. We're screwed. We're screwed. And the only way we're going to have to get them out is through the military. They're going to have to sign the Insurrection Act law. They're going to have to go door to door, check everyone's property, vet everybody, make sure everything is how you say it. And we just got to push them out. They've done it before in the past. Shit, that's how the United States was formed. They got rid of all the Indians and they pushed them out. You know? So it's been done before. They could do it again. It's wild. We're living in such wild times. I would have... Listen, this was never on my bingo card. Everything that I'm witnessing on a daily basis, ever since I've been paying attention more to the media, I've been paying attention more to current events, and everybody else is still kind of like asleep. And then I'm here like, more input. Okay, let's go back to the story here, and let's see what they say.
Hey, Mike. Well, investigators say they were able to crack this case all thanks to a tip from a homeless man known only as John. And now a lot of people are also calling him a hero. He was a former Yale student who became suspicious of the shooter when he ran into him in the bathroom in the engineering building just hours before the shooting. So he decided to follow him outside.
Some people are more interested in finding out what others are doing. In this particular case, this person decided that he wanted to, and I'm glad he did.
The manhunt for Claudio Neves Valente is over. He's the man accused of killing 2 people at Brown University Saturday and an MIT professor on Monday. And here's a surveillance video that changed everything. The eventual tipster, John, back on Saturday, playing what he described as a game of cat and mouse with Neves Valente in a neighborhood near campus. He came forward after Providence police released this photo of him on Wednesday and said they wanted to talk.
And that person led us to the car, which led us to the name.
Look at that.
Led us to the photographs.
Fucking better than the FBI and the police put together.
48-year-old Portuguese national.
One person.
He studied physics at Brown 20 plus years ago as a grad student, but dropped out. Officials say he rented a car in Boston on December 1st and drove down to Providence. The car was seen in the area several times before last Saturday's deadly shooting, but the violence didn't end there. On Monday, police believe Neves Valente shot and killed an MIT professor in Brookline, Massachusetts.
He attended the same academic program as the MIT professor Nuno Loureiro in Portugal between 1995 and 2000.
Wow, he went to things. They were studying together
on the rental car. But the tip that started with John finally led police to that rented Nissan outside the storage facility in Salem, New Hampshire.
He was found dead with a satchel, with 2 firearms.
So the big question now is, what was the motive? Officials say both investigations are still active and they're searching for those answers as we speak. Mike?
Yeah, and Kaylee, I think a lot of people wanting to know, okay, does this a guy who saw something that wasn't right with the suspect, will he be getting the reward?
Hell yeah, he should.
Hey, well, right now we haven't had that confirmed. I'm sure a lot of people are hoping so. And actually, Rhode Island's AG says he thinks he should get the reward, but nothing confirmed just yet.
Yeah, I mean, that is amazing to
he did more work than the
this
FBI.
person is just, you know, people watching, but finding something isn't right there and then taking all these notes and able to tell the police about everything.
Yeah, you know, and that's what you heard at the top of my story there, the chief of police saying, you know, he was just paying attention. It's, you know, he said before that soundbite that you heard, he said, you know, it's just different personalities. He just happened to be kind of curious and he thought something was suspicious with the shooter. So he decided to scope it out for himself. So only time will tell. Hopefully we'll hear something soon. But we do know that officials are pretty busy right now, still searching for some answers to a lot of questions.
All right, Kaylee, Skyler, thanks so much for joining us on Live Now from Fox. We always appreciate it with these updates out in Providence, Rhode Island. And this evening, we are getting some additional information here on this case. We are now just learning through the Associated Press that the suspect in the Brown University shooting and MIT professor's killing had been dead for 2 days when found. The autopsy has just determined there. So we wanted to pass that along to you. I know there's so much interest here in this case. We are definitely going to be keeping an eye on it. Any more details, we will pass that along to you.
That is crazy. So he was done. So he killed the professor and then went up to Salem, which is, I know the area. Okay. I know Rhode Island. I know Massachusetts, Boston, where MIT is, and Salem, New Hampshire, just straight up. And you're right there. So this guy killed the professor. Then he went to that storage, and that's where he himself. More to the story, right? First of all, why did he go and kill this girl and this guy at Brown University? You know, why did he target like these college Republican, pretty much were a good like vocal speaking out, and let me see if I have a video here so I could show you. Give me 1 second. So I could pause this here, set this up. Okay, for some reason, let's see if I can get this to work. Yeah, you see the audio. It still messes up. I gotta take a picture of it and send it to StreamYard. I'm not gonna do that now. But it always drops off on when I'm trying to produce my shows. So it's just still doing it. And paid for another month because I want to get through Christmas and New Year's. But next month, if they keep up the same bullshit, I'm gonna look for another streaming to do the show from. I'm gonna look around. I mean, StreamYard is good to do and to produce and stuff. It's great, but they fuck up too much in the sound. You know, I'm trying to do the show and it's like it cuts out the sound of the videos and it's ridiculous. But let's check this out. Did you see? It's like, what the fuck?
And I am really disturbed by how this Brown shooting narrative is progressing. There was a mass shooting at Brown University, and even though they initially said we have a suspect, they have now released that suspect, so they got the wrong guy, and nobody has any answers. More importantly, we now know one of the victims was Ella Cook. She was the vice president of the College Republicans. She was a Christian advocate on campus, one of the less than 0.8% of Brown University, one of the most liberal universities in the world that self-identifies as a conservative. She was also studying with some of her conservative friends inside of the library. Now, this is really starting to look like a targeted political assassination. That's what everybody in my timeline is saying, and it certainly has. Like, what are the probabilities of this? There are thousands and thousands of students at Brown University. Less than 0.8% of them are conservative, yet this government attacked just the table of conservatives. And again, they haven't been able to find this individual. They have 800 different security cameras at Brown University. People are now comparing this to Charlie Kirk and saying this is, again, political violence from the left. Hey, what's up, guys? I'm on my way back
That's
from
crazy, right? Political violence, I mean, from the left, I don't know, man. It's just, the world is just, has a screw loose. And there's a lot of nuts and all over the place. And it's just getting crazier every single day. Every day. And now, let's see what we got here. All right, let's take a look at this.
We begin tonight with President Trump's response to last week's killing of 2 American service members and a civilian interpreter in Syria. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth calls new airstrikes tonight in Syria a declaration of vengeance against ISIS terrorists. We have Fox team coverage on the breaking story. Trey Yanks is in Tel Aviv with reaction to the strikes, and Chief National Security Correspondent Jennifer Griffin starts us off with what we know here in Washington. Good evening, Jennifer.
Good evening, Brett. A senior U.S. official tells Fox the U.S. military has struck more than 50 ISIS targets in the past 2 hours following the president's order to, quote, hit them hard after the killing of 3 Americans Saturday, 2 members of the Iowa National Guard and their civilian translator by a member of the Syrian security forces. U.S. Central Command launched a massive strike on dozens of ISIS targets in an operation called Operation Hawkeye Strike. Iowa is the Hawkeye state. The strikes took place at multiple locations across Syria. The targets include ISIS infrastructure and weapons storage sites. Pentagon Chief Pete Hegseth tweeted, quote, this is not the beginning of a war. It is a declaration of vengeance. The United States of America under President Trump's leadership will never hesitate and never relent to defend our people. Sergeant William Nate Howard, 29 of Marshalltown, and Sergeant Edgar Torres Tovar, 25 of Des Moines, and their civilian interpreter, Ayad Mansour Sakat of Michigan, returned home in a dignified transfer Wednesday at Dover Air Force Base in Delaware, where they were met by the president. The December 13th attack, which took place while a senior U.S. military commander was meeting his Syrian counterparts near Palmyra in central Syria. Afterwards, Syrian security forces helped carry out 10 partnered operations across Syria that led to the death, we're told, or detainment of more than 24 ISIS-affiliated individuals. The U.S. provided support during those raids. Those raids, Brett, led to the confiscation of electronics and individual interviews that resulted in the intelligence used for this operation to locate potential targets. A CENTCOM review is ongoing into the exact affiliation of the Syrian gunman who joined the security forces just 2 months before. The gunman was in the process, Brett, of being removed from the Syrian military for suspected jihadist ties. Brett?
I mean, Jen, more than 4 dozen targets. That's quite a lot, I mean, actually.
That's a lot. It included airstrikes as well as artillery strikes. We'll have to see some of the bomb damage assessment, but this was a very, very broad set of strikes tonight.
They blocked you on TikTok.
Killing of those Americans.
Okay, Jennifer, thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here.
That's
hey,
crazy, right? The stories, like, at least they're retaliating. Trump's like, fuck that shit. We're gonna get a little payback for what they did and killing 2 American soldiers, and the interpreter. They hit their ammunition, hit their probably facilities. They study the satellites every day. You know, they get feeds every day. They can look down and see everything that's going on. You know, so they know what's up. You know, it's the future. Welcome 2025. You know, warfare from back in like the 80s and 90s is nothing like now in the 25s. You know, and we're reaching 2026. Like, damn. Time flies. And it doesn't wait for us. And, you know, our time's going to come. And hopefully we'll be okay once we reach that bridge and cross over. You know, that's always been my biggest fear, is dying. It is one of my biggest fears. Because I don't know how to fucking die. I died already and came back to life. They brought me back to life. They brought me back to life. Not once, but twice in my life. Like, two hot. One, it was in Florida. It was in Broward. And I recall everything because I saw everything. I felt everything. I heard everything on both times. I heard everything that they were talking and fucking like they put me in the MRI to check for my brainwaves, and I had blue. I code blue. Because the fucking nurse fucked up. That's why. Because there was a medicine that she was supposed to give to me, but she was supposed to give it to me slowly. And at the time she was giving me the medicine, the doctor was on the phone. I don't know. I think the doctor doesn't like to be on hold. So she just rushed the medicine in me. And then she went to get the fucking call. And then that's where I went into convulsions and yeah, and I had like I seized out and fucking heart stopped. And then they brought me back, and then they put me on the CAT scan to make sure I have like brain waves, and then they shot me with a epi, but they shot it like pretty much in my chest, and that really kicked my heart. It kicked my heart, and then I ended up like in intensive care, and that was in South Florida. And then after I started getting like better and stuff like that, then I got out of that place. I got out of that place. I was happy. I was like, oh, I'm fucking still alive. All right, let's keep going. You know, it's just weird how. And then it happened to me up here in Connecticut, and that was fucking crazy. That's another story. That's another episode. It's like, Rick, we just gotta do an episode of your fucking experiences. I'm like, I know, right? I'll fill in the whole 4 hours just talking about me. Easy. It'll be my own autobiography put on YouTube. There you go. All right, let's see what else we got. What's this? Oh, we gotta watch this. We definitely gotta watch this. Give me 1 sec. Oh, we gotta definitely watch this. Give me 1 second. We definitely got to watch this one because this is the homegirl. You know how I feel about the homegirls, but this definitely check out the homegirl. You know who I'm talking about. Our best friend of the whole world. You know our best friend of the whole world. The channel. Our best friend of the whole wide world. And no one can replace her on that top spot. And let's watch.
Now it's time for Lefties Losing It. Let's start with Democrat Debbie Wasserman-Schultz, who really should feature more heavily in this segment because she is a certifiable lefty losing it, incapable of rationality. She was asked to appear on News Nation to speak about jihadism and the rise of anti-Semitism in America. It did not go well.
What is the bigger threat to America right now, American values, American life? Islamophobia or jihad?
I think we have to focus, quite frankly, on, if we're worried about the threat to American values, on the person who's in the White House. I mean, we have a president.
Oh, come on. Really?
No,
is that where we're going? Come on.
Yeah, I'm going there because we have a president who has completely undermined our democracy to divide instead of unite us. The responsibility
I have to say, Congressman, you know how much I admire you, and I always appreciate you being willing to come on and discuss things. But we booked you to talk about anti-Semitism and Islamophobia in America. So
Well, that was a mistake, wasn't it? These sad Democrats are one-trick ponies. It's all about bashing Trump in the most hysterical fashion imaginable. Let's go to church in Canada. I wonder what holy sermons will be treated to here. What wise words of wisdom from church leaders?
Oh boy, what a treat to be here this morning, as I
What
am
the
most
hell?
Sunday mornings. And
Ew.
I'm so excited I get
What
to
the
share
fuck?
this part of me too.
Ooh.
Because let me tell you some. Oh, you can keep going.
Ew. What the hell is this?
Oh boy.
Okay, let's now watch loopy lefty writer Wajat Ali, who features in the New York Times occasionally. Well, he makes an absolute clown of himself in this exchange with fitness guru Jillian Michaels.
Jillian, you are
You still
by
have
your own
16
admission.
dead,
You
Wajahat.
by your own admission are a white nationalist. You by your own admission, that's what you are, a white nationalist. You admitted it.
I'm a white
I saw the
you know
clip.
I'm Arab, right?
The number
I'm
one
Syrian and
domestic terror
Lebanese and
threat-
Turkish.
Now, what we've learned about the left in recent years is they are angry, hysterical, and often deeply unpleasant. Democrat operative James Carville manages the trifecta here when he claims Donald Trump has no humanity, followed by this.
The basic elements of humanity. And I'm not sure he's not getting worse. It's not up to me because, frankly, I wouldn't piss down his goddamn throat if his heart was on fire. But
Incredible. Now to musician Bob Vylan, who is so full of hate, so full of bile that he said this about Charlie Kirk on stage.
The Dodgers.
This next one to an absolute piece of a human being. The pronouns was, were. Because if you touch, you will get banned. What's that, Charlie Kirk, you piece of
Bob is a vile, attention-seeking, gutter-dwelling loser. I think the lesson here is don't be like Bob. Let's have a look at the sterling work of Swedish doomsday wench Greta Thunberg, who has gone effortlessly from
our best friend.
global warming
She's
hysteric
next.
to anti-Israel activist to this.
Our best friend.
All across Europe, factories are shutting down and hundreds of thousands of workers are losing their jobs. But what happens if we don't accept that? What happens if we fight back? Our so-called leaders are never going to do the changes needed to safeguard our future. It is up to us, especially
This reminds me of the
workers
Hunger
this
Games.
world,
You know
to
that?
be the solution of a
Like,
problem
especially the last
created by the
videos where they were
system.
doing like the recordings.
Joining me now is Center
They're
of
like
the American
propaganda,
Experiment
like-
president and
I
founder
just feel
and
that's what this
writer at the
is all
popular
about.
Powerline blog, John Hinderaker. John, there you go. Greta, who's
like the
never had a
Hunger
real job, is now a champion of workers. I wonder why those factories in Europe are closing down. Could it be the self-inflicted energy crisis that many European leaders inflicted on their country at the behest of global warming hysterics,
Exactly.
just like Greta?
Yep.
Yeah, Rita,
can't
Greta
afford it.
Thunberg must be one of the least self-aware people in the world. Workers of the world unite, she says. But of course, the reason why factories have shut down all across Europe is because green energy laws that have been promoted by people like Greta Thunberg have driven up the cost of electricity and made it impossible for those factories to compete internationally. So Thunberg herself is one of the causes of the problem that she is decrying.
Oh, absolutely. The cost of energy, the deindustrialization of some countries in the West, it's all because of these green policies. And now they're champions of workers.
That's crazy. All right, let's keep it moving.
A first grade teacher from Everett says she went on a dream Bahamas cruise over Thanksgiving.
But she says it turned into a nightmare because of bed bugs, and she feels her complaints have been ignored. Thanksgiving week was a breakaway from it all on board Norwegian Cruise Line ship Norwegian Breakaway. The 8-night cruise left from New York City to red marks aren't a sunburn. Lynn Marie Adams says she was covered with bites from bed bugs on board.
So Sunday into Monday, when I woke up on Monday morning, is when I noticed that for my face. And then every night thereafter, there was more popping up.
Adams says she talked to the woman who cleans her room, but could not connect with a supervisor at guest services.
And anytime you try to dial 00, it would ring so much that it would start to either ring busy or disconnect. But if you were standing in line at guest services with 100 other people at any given time throughout the 8 nights, if the desk is busy, they just pick up the phone and hang it right up.
She says she didn't see a doctor on board because they demanded payment up front, which is common practice on cruise ships.
I said, I'm not paying $200 out of pocket when I'm trying to bring to your attention what could be a serious matter.
But when she got home, a telehealth visit confirmed the bites were consistent with bed bugs.
And she saw all of the bites, and she claimed that it was everything that she saw in the story behind it was consistent with bed bug bites.
Afraid of bringing them home, she followed all the recommended precautions.
So we brought spray. We went to a local laundromat, and we had to keep everything in containers in our basement and for over a week to make sure.
She tried to contact the cruise line's corporate office, but that her complaints were dismissed.
Wow.
The cruise line wrote in a statement, quote, "Our records indicate that this illness was never reported to our medical office or to our guest relations desk," unquote. It continued that whenever illnesses are reported, medical staff makes every effort to attend to them.
This is bullshit.
Adams, who has taken many cruises over the years, says she's now seeing a psychologist to deal with the emotional toll the vacation has taken on her mental and physical health.
And she's gonna sue them. She's gonna sue them. I'm just letting you know right now. That's what's gonna happen. She's gonna sue them. And good on her, you know, she should. I mean, what the hell? Like, you never had a bed bug attack? Like, it's not fun. That shit fucking hurts. It's disgusting. They bite you in the middle of the fucking night. You're just like uncomfortable like the whole fucking trip. I can imagine what she went through like every night sleeping on that motherfucking bed. Like, that's my biggest fear in going on these stupid cruises and stuff is the fucking people, you know, and the things that they bring on from the outside in. And then, like, then you got to share that cabin because, like, every week, so many other people and other groups are in there. So imagine all the people throughout the whole year, every year that boat has been going through. And then you get this one case that they don't even want to pay attention to you. You're trying to bring it to the attention. You even told the cleaner, listen, there's fucking something biting me, and like it seems like it's like bed bugs because I'm getting bit on fucking night, and they don't fucking pay attention. Like, the crews don't give a fuck, and they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna write you a letter that nothing was reported to our medical staff or to no one, so we're gonna keep on going. You see, that could not be me. Because then that boat would go down just like the Titanic. I'll be like, you don't fucking believe me, motherfuckers. The boat. Like, that's crazy, man. Bed bugs, you know how fast that shit spreads? That shit's, I wonder if other people are going to be complaining about that room. I wonder if they took care of that problem after that cruise. Like, All right, let's see. Let's keep it moving. We got some more to watch. We're going to the Liberal Hive Mind. Let's check it out.
Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. And of course, here's your meme of the day brought to you by 5mind.com. The hypocrisy and the irony here is just on another level. You know, for the last however many years, these Democrats have been screeching about Trump being a criminal, Donald Trump being a national security threat. He's endangering our democracy and engaging in all of these corrupt crimes. And of course, one of those crimes that they tried to ruin his entire life over was the supposed mishandling of classified information. We remember that accusation, right? Donald Trump belonged in prison. He was selling off classified documents. They wanted to charge him with the Espionage Act. But of course, the whole case fell apart, unsurprisingly. And now we're even learning that they didn't even have probable cause to raid Mar-a-Lago in the first place. But anyways, all these accusations pertaining to classified documents, endangering American democracy, yada yada, they made that claim over and over again repeatedly. But now, as we're learning, again, it's not the first time. It turns out the only individual that was playing games with classified intelligence was not Donald Trump. No, it was yet again another Democrat. Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton, of course, are already known. Now we've got Adam Schiff to add to the list, as a Democrat whistleblower is now saying that Adam Schiff himself was leaking classified information to the press. So basically, the same crew that tried to put Donald Trump in prison under the Espionage Act were apparently in real time weaponizing intelligence to wage a political information campaign against the president. Look, I know I said that it's ironic, but this is more than irony. It's more than hypocrisy. This is one of the worst examples of corrupt projection I have ever seen in my life. Let me show you guys exactly what's going on here. We got some stuff to get into. So let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so take a look at the report here from Fox News. It's pretty damning.
The Democrat whistleblower that then Congressman Adam Schiff approved leaking. White House is giving its first reaction.
The president has already said he wants to see Adam Schiff held accountable for the countless lies he told the American people in relation to the Russiagate scandal. I have a quote from the FBI director. For years, certain officials used their positions to selectively leak classified information to shape political narratives. It was all done with one purpose: to weaponize intelligence and law enforcement for political gain. Those abuses eroded public trust in our institutions. The FBI will now lead the charge with our partners at DOJ and Congress.
If this report is accurate, which likely is, Adam Schiff should be in the exact same to tell me that the straight going on TV every single night claiming that he had more than circumstantial evidence of Trump-Russia collusion.
The Russians offered help, which we know they did. The campaign accepted help, which we know they did. The Russians then delivered help, which we know they did.
There is circumstantial evidence of collusion.
The case is more than that, and I can't go into the particulars, but there is more than circumstantial evidence now. So
You've said on more than one occasion that you've seen ample evidence of the Trump campaign's Russia collusion. Last March, you said you had more than circumstantial evidence of treasonous collusion with Russia.
I've certainly said that there's ample evidence of collusion.
Can you agree that there has been no evidence of collusion, coordination, or conspiracy that has been presented thus far between the Trump campaign and Russia?
No, I don't agree with that at all. I think there's help. The campaign accepted help. The Russians gave help. And
corruption was as clear as day. It was playing right before our very eyes in real time. He was going above and beyond. He was lying. He had 4 years to doing so. He kept saying how secretly he had seen proof, evidence that Donald Trump was a Manchurian candidate. He lied about Russia collusion. He lied about the Trump-Zelensky phone call. He made all of it up. Oh, and let's not forget that during the January 6th committee, he cherry-picked and edited Donald Trump's quotes on social media to misrepresent what the president had stated. The guy's entire brand was weaponizing his intelligence position. So the idea that he would be leaking information to the press that could potentially appear as damning for the president, yeah, I'd say it's pretty believable. In fact, I'd say it's par for the course. Adam Schiff is possibly one of the most corrupt actors in modern political history. And you know, it's funny because I'm thinking about that Kash Patel moment. Remember during that hearing where Kash Patel absolutely unleashed on Adam Schiff? The mainstream media told us that Kash Patel was petty. His behavior was unbecoming of an FBI director.
To believe
but I think the SmackDown...
Stupid? No. I think the American people believe the truth, that I'm not in the weeds on the everyday movements of inmates. What I am doing is protecting this country, providing historic reform, and combating the weaponization of intelligence by the likes of you. And we have countlessly proven you to be a liar in Russiagate, in January 6th. You are the biggest fraud to ever sit in the United States Senate. You are a disgrace to this institution and an utter coward. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that you continue to lie from your perch and put on a show so you can go raise money for your charade. You are a political buffoon at best.
Well, you can take an internet troll.
Take it to the bank that the FBI is protecting this country and the state and citizens of California. We are bringing historic reform.
Point of order.
But all you care about is a child predator that was prosecuted by a prior administration and the Obama Justice Department and the Biden Justice Department squad. And what did President Trump do? Bring new charges courageously. And what have we done?
Chairman,
You said
take
I'm the
control
most
of this
transparent
situation.
FBI director in history. 33,000 pages of information to you. I challenge you to say anything credibly to the truth. Go ahead and run to the cameras where you want to go now.
He called Adam Schiff the biggest fraud to ever sit in the Senate, an absolute
See, that's
disgrace,
the
a
only
coward, a
good thing
political
that he did.
buffoon,
He
and the
called
media
him out.
clutched their pearls, but he was right. Every single word was spot
Adam Schiff,
freaking
he's
on. And now with this
crazy,
latest
man.
revelation,
Actually,
well, if
he's
anything,
still-
it further justifies Kash Patel's behavior. He was right.
what
We
he's
were
doing.
right.
I
Now the
can't
question
believe he's still
is it
watching
all
this.
going to be made
Being jailed.
right? Because obviously that's the part that has people so pissed off. You know, regular American
TV.
citizens go to prison for
Yeah, how
far
you
less.
like it?
Imagine some government contractor
Because
sends the
YouTube
wrong
TV.
document, or some soldier mishandles a file, or you have an
I don't
FBI
have
field
YouTube
guy that says
TV.
the
I have
wrong
the
things
premium.
outside of the proper channels. Well, those people are
They keep
done.
offering it
At a
to
bare
me.
minimum, their
I don't really
careers
need
will
cable.
utterly collapse.
I
And if
have
it's
a-
found that they
a
did it
box
purposely,
that I
well, you're
watch
talking about a
my
serious federal
TV.
crime there. But now we've got Adam Schiff, who apparently was leaking,
got a box
fabricating,
from the big-
manipulating intelligence, stirring
Have you ever done
hysteria about
TV
Russia,
series?
sabotaging a sitting president, misrepresenting
I wonder,
evidence in
have you
front
ever
of the
been there?
entire world, which some of the stuff may not be illegal. It's unethical, but it certainly isn't illegal. Or in some cases, he could be protected
I'm
by his
sure you
congressional immunity, like the whole phone call lie that he pushed.
Like,
But a
it's
whistleblower
creepy.
stepping forward and
Like,
claiming that
even
Adam
in the
Schiff was
pictures, he
leaking
looks fucking
classified
creepy.
information, we're supposed to just shrug and move on? Absolutely not. No. And again, if the investigation proves the claim, well, then an indictment should follow. Adam Schiff should be indicted under the exact same laws that they tried to crush Donald Trump with. Here's my message to the
Right?
Trump DOJ, to Pam Bondi, and everybody else. This is a line in the sand moment. Either the law applies to the ruling class or it does not. Either leaking classified information to damage your political enemies is a crime, no matter who you are, or the entire notion of rule of law and equal justice under the law, well, it all falls apart. It becomes a joke. This absolute con artist spent years pretending to be the guardian of democracy, and yet the entire time he was lying about evidence. And now we're learning leaking state secrets to the press. Adam Schiff is the embodiment of everything wrong with the deep state. He is the embodiment of weaponizing your position of power, weaponizing American institutions, and he should be held accountable for his crimes against the American people. Pam Bondi, we are waiting. Anyways, that's what I got for you guys. Thanks for
Wow.
watching, and I'll see you on the next one.
We are waiting, Pam Bondi. You taking your sweet time, girl. I know President Trump likes you and everything. You know, you're the sweetheart. But I'm just letting you know right now, Pam Bondi, you need to get your shit together. You need to get your shit straight, because right now it's the time where you put put your foot down. And right now, I don't see you really doing it. I just see a lot of like, trying to celebrate before, like spiking the ball before crossing the goal line. It's like, why are we celebrating? What happened? Like, did we catch the bad guy? Did we do what we were supposed to? I don't know. I know Patel, he did that great, right? He went after Adam Schiff and he really ripped into it. And I saw that one live. So that was like really it was awesome live. And it was even more awesome watching it now. But I feel like Patel is not he's not consistent. That's my biggest problem with him. He's not consistent. And I think he's more distracted. And I have this voice in my head. It's like, she's an agent. She's an agent. But the distraction of his love life and not truly being a true undistracted leader to the FBI, that's his downfall. he just needs to be careful because like these agents, they get to these guys and yeah, they're like, no, we're not agent. Mm-hmm. Like Erica Kirk. Okay. Right. Allegedly, right? I don't know. Let's keep it moving. What we got next?
These big top headlines that we are following for you. And one of them, the vault is open for more of the Epstein files to come out. This is what we are learning from the Department of Justice, putting out another really trove.
This is weird. Look at all these pictures.
That are continuing to come out. The AP
That's a
and Fox
passport or
News
something?
continuing to
No.
look
Look all
at those names as well as photos that are coming out. The White House, Abigail Jackson from the White House,
Who's that?
per the Epstein Files Transparency Act, DOJ was specifically
Oh, look,
instructed
Michael
only
Jackson.
to redact the faces of
And there's
victims
Bill Clinton.
and or minors. Here is a picture of Bill Clinton with his arm around Michael Jackson and redacted individuals. And so that is some of the early thinking right now of these
weird.
files that are being released, photos and some redactions along the way as well. Some more than 1,200 victims with powerful figures, and the files include new photos of former President Bill Clinton and Epstein on the island. So now for more on this, to talk about the way that these files are being released and so much more, let's bring in our next guest to help break it all down. John Day, attorney and legal analyst. Great to have you on, John. And
Yo,
this comes
what's
at a
up,
moment where
Kayla?
the DOJ had this deadline and getting this trove right now of files.
Yeah, they're
coming out.
not, Terry. Like the
Right, Mike,
cabinet's
thanks for
not
having me. So what we're
consistent.
seeing
They're like
is apparently not everything.
throw
We've
it at
got
the wall.
indications from the Department of Justice that there are things that are going to be withheld
Go get me a
or
quick snack.
handed out at a later date. Now, the law in this case that was passed by Congress and signed by President Trump required that all the Epstein files be released by midnight tonight, Friday, December 19th. Looks like not everything is going to be released. And the problem with the law, whether it's a problem or not, is it didn't have any teeth. In other words, there wasn't an enforcement mechanism. All it said was release these. Didn't happen. So what we're seeing is a lot of material, some of it obviously brand new. You know, things like a message slip for Epstein that said, "I have a female for you," from 2004. Photographs, him swimming with Ghislaine Maxwell. So there's a lot of information that's coming out. The problem is if you are sort of conspiracy minded or skeptical or cynical, you might be wondering what isn't coming out. It looks like there are a lot of redactions being made. The redactions are only supposed to apply to victims of Epstein and national security situations and ongoing prosecutions. Now, and if you tend towards cynicism or skepticism, you might wonder, is everything about Epstein and his powerful male friends, is that coming out? That remains to be seen.
Yeah, it so does. And maybe explain really the process that the Department of Justice is going through to really put these files out. I mean, not only do they have to look at it, but it looks like they have to scan it all in, and then they have to redact some of the parts that can't be in there. I mean, just how long does it take for each file really to get through the process and then upload it if it can be?
Well, remember, this law was only passed in sort of mid to late November. And so that meant the Department of Justice had, 3 to 4 weeks at the most to examine hundreds of thousands of files. It looks like most of these relate to the investigations and prosecutions of Epstein. But the law requires that the names of the victims, the over 1,000 young female victims, those have to be withheld to protect the victims' identities, which is, everybody would agree, is important, and that's a good thing. So you have to make sure that everything you're releasing, if you're the DOJ, that nothing includes that, as well as if there's any sort of ongoing prosecutions, do these relate in any way to anything that's ongoing? And also, if there's any national security issue that this would implicate, those can also be withheld. But you have to understand this means that there have to be eyes on hundreds of thousands of documents, photographs, videos, whatever it is in the file. So, and they only had a relatively short time to do this. So Department of Justice response is we might need some more time. There's no teeth to enforce that. So at the end of the day, if they would need more time, they're going to have more time.
Yeah, and it looks like right now from the AP saying the DOJ acknowledges to Congress that Epstein files release is incomplete, expects additional disclosures by the end of the year. And I want to talk about what you were just saying there, John, about having no teeth in it. So, I mean, pretty much the DOJ said, okay, today's the deadline. We're going to put out some of this stuff, but I mean, there's really no rush to do so, correct?
Well, there's the downside is simply, okay, so they're violating the law, but the law that was passed didn't contain enforcement teeth. So, again, there's the age-old question of if you pass a law that you can't enforce, what do you get at the end of the day? So there's been talk among Democrats in Congress about trying to initiate actions against Attorney General Pam Bondi and Deputy AG Todd Blanche because these materials haven't been released. I mean, that certainly would have some teeth to it, but at the end of the day, that's not contained in the law. And there was nothing in there that said, you don't release all these, this is what's going to happen to you. And again, we're going to see what is there, what's been redacted. It looks like there are numbers of pages where there's nothing but black lines across the documents. Now that, could certainly relate to one of the exceptions, the victims, the prosecutions, or a national security issue. But again, we don't know what we don't know about what's being withheld.
Yeah, that's so true. John, thanks so much for joining us on Live Now from Fox. Always great to have your insight. We appreciate it as always.
Thank you.
Take care. All right, everyone, we continue to follow the different batches that continue to come out from the Epstein files. So far, there's been a lot of additional photos of Bill Clinton and
Mick Jagger.
Redacted. Yeah, like this one, Bill Clinton hugging someone there. So again, we will keep an eye on all of this here for you.
Who's he hugging? Scandalous. Bill Clinton, scandalous. Ain't Monica Lewinsky, because Monica Lewinsky is here in New York fighting with another chick. Oh, there they are. Shit, that was more entertaining than WWE. All right, let's keep it moving.
And what I love about you and I sitting down is at this exact same time last year, you were doing the same weird questioning and making all these things when I said that they were committing a Holocaust against the Gazans. And then you changed your mind.
Actually, this time,
I'll see you next year when you change.
He did change his mind. 100%. He was 100% wrong when she's exactly right. So Piers Morgan, the perennially wrong about everything until it becomes okay to be right about it, is attacking Candace Owens about doing journalism, which is what Piers Morgan, I don't think, has ever done.
With the rats in New York.
And
at the end,
it's really garbage. I really can't get over this. He's wrong about everything. He was wrong about Russiagate. He was wrong about COVID, 100%. He was wrong about the Ukraine war, 1,000%. And now he's wrong about Charlie Kirk's assassination. And so for some reason, Candace Owens continues to go on his show. I don't know what that reason is. But let's watch.
Why? What is your theory?
I don't know. I don't know.
But what's your theory then? You must have an idea.
My theory is that we should investigate everything strange that happened on that day so we can figure out what happened.
But are you suggesting
Are you
suggesting
why is everybody
Egypt?
Why are we pretending that we don't know why we ask questions? Like why? Like you're a journalist.
But you
know
have a
what
theory.
this is. You're like, what's going on? What's going
your
on? Why do
theory?
you want to know why these planes were tracking Charlie? Well, my theory is that we are being sold absolute Fed slop. The media is doing their Operation Mockingbird Part 2 scenario by telling us, well, unless you absolutely have a conclusion, you can't even ask the question. Yes, we very well
But it may
can.
be, Candace.
Keep asking consistent questions until we get a clarified explanation for what happened on that day. And right now, we have nothing, okay? And that is the reason why people are watching my show, because I'm the only one not treating them like they're absolute idiots who don't have two eyes and who believe in magic bully theories and who understand that Egyptian planes should not have been tracking Charlie even 3 times this year would be an anomaly, okay? They've been tracking him. We don't know where it's going to end, but we are going to keep asking questions until we get clear.
Piers, why not just do the show by yourself? Why do you bring her on if you don't want her to actually give information to your audience? That is so effing annoying. Why not let her speak and then you speak after her?
Exactly.
Why do you have to constantly try to talk over her? I know why. Because you're bad. You're a bad journalist. You're garbage. That's why.
Candace, it may be that the person in the media spewing bullshit to the public is you.
No, nice try. It's not. It's
Could
you
be.
by saying, why are you asking
Could be.
questions? Don't you worry about Mikey's feelings? Everyone knows what this is. And like I said, because we have the example, the concrete example of after JFK's assassination, the media members quite literally being put on the payroll of the CIA. We have a historical example that we can look at and go, we're not doing that again. Doesn't matter how many times you keep telling the public that I'm spewing bullshit. It is only because there has not been anything that has come out of this investigation that makes any sense that the public is not listening to. I am sorry to say this, Piers, people like you. And what I love about you and I sitting down is that this exact same time last year, you were doing the same weird questioning and making all these things when I said that they were committing a Holocaust against the Gazans. And then you changed your mind.
Actually,
You know what, Piers?
this time,
I'll see you next year when you change.
He did change his mind. 100%. He was 100% wrong when she's exactly right. I wish I had that clip in the ready. I have that clip because we covered it.
You can get someone to
Your mind again, and we have more information about what happened. And you realize that the difference between me and you is that I have the courage to take the risks and ask the questions first, okay, before it's popular. You wait until it becomes popular, and then you change your mind.
He always does that. It's like, so when he finally switched on Gaza and was willing to tell the truth about it, I'm like, oh, so now it's profitable for Piers Morgan to tell the truth about Gaza. Before it wasn't, now it is, so now he will. Or maybe he's just that stupid. But he's on the wrong side of every major issue until it becomes untenable for him to be on the wrong side, and then he comes around to the right side. Now, I don't know if he ever came around to the right side on Russiagate. He finally did with COVID a little bit, the Ukraine war a little bit, and now he's back. But he's wrong, demonstrably wrong on all these things, and he's demonstrably wrong about this. He's sitting here shaming someone for doing actual journalism.
Right?
Nothing in this story makes sense. Nothing. Nothing. And of course, that's why he has to try to talk over her. So good but Candace did him in. So Candace, like, I'm the one who has the courage to ask these questions and not wait for it to be popular. That's what he does. That's what Piers Morgan does. And he's the one who has consistently spewed bullshit on his show. Constantly spewed bullshit. Jackson Hinkle took him to the woodshed and humiliate him. A 3-year-old kid was able to humiliate him over his bullshit about Ukraine and COVID. Anyway, good on Candace Owens. She got him. Good on Candace Owens. Hey, come see me on tour January 11th in Waikiki, Hawaii, and January 30th in Los Angeles at the Comedy.
I wish I could go Waikiki. All right, so let's see what else we got. How's everyone doing tonight? How y'all doing? That's crazy. Even the rats are fighting for food. I know, right? Now we know Mandani is a piece of crap. The rats might disappear with Mandani. The people are going to be so hungry, they're going to probably eat the rats. We're living in really unique times. Like super freaking unique times. Let's see here. Okay, we could watch Benny Johnson. Let's watch a little Benny Johnson here. Let me set it up real quick. Just gotta set it up. The YouTube sucks. These windows, like, they don't pause properly, and Give me a sec here. All right, here we go. Okay, let's watch a little Benny.
What's up, guys? It's Benny. We're traveling, so forgive the ghetto video here. This is too big of a story to miss, and so I'm just going to do this from inside of like a little airport office cubby space here, because the Epstein files have finally been released, and oh dear God in heaven, what is inside of these? Well, there's a lot of photos of Bill Clinton. I think that's something that we can really take to the bank. There are photos of a lot of little children, some of them too creepy for me to show you, and then there's this, a photo of Bill Clinton in a jacuzzi tub with a woman who has her face blocked out. And the reason why I can say it's a woman is because the DOJ told us specifically that victims had their faces and underage individuals had their faces blacked out. Oh, whoa. More creepy sex toys, tons and tons and tons of nudity, and Jeffrey Epstein predator confirmed, by the way, including the creepy statue of the bride trying to escape on a rope, doctor's outfits, and so on. I got some stuff that you've got to see. There's so many new photos of Bill Clinton. Here's a member of the royal family right here, Prince Andrew. He's laying across the laps of 5, count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus 6 individuals who have their faces blacked out. Again, I told you the rules. The rules are that these are victims of Jeffrey Epstein or underage individuals. Here's like Bill Clinton. I guess if you put him in jail, it could be a fashion crime here, right? Whatever the hell this is, wearing this with Jeffrey Epstein. And then obviously you have more Bill Clinton swimming in a pool with what looks like Ghislaine Maxwell for sure, and another Epstein victim. What kind of a pool is this? I mean, look at how ornate that is. Palace. So tons of this stuff. This is goodness gracious. He's talking about checking their IDs to make sure that they are under the age of 18, not over the age of 18, under the age of 18. Chris Tucker is in these. You know that Jeffrey Epstein was very close with Hollywood actors and actresses, and here you can see Bill Clinton with a woman who is, let's just say this, definitely not Hillary Clinton, sitting on his lap on a private jet. Now, we've heard about this.
Because Hillary had her own girls.
There's also quite an interesting series of Israeli Defense Force shirts. Massage for dummies, no joke. And then Jeffrey Epstein here with a inappropriately shaped cake. Here is ready to lick that cake. Again, here's a younger Jeffrey Epstein with more, nudity or individuals that have had their faces blurred out. Oh, there's extra photos of Bill Clinton. Do you know that there's more than one painting of Bill Clinton? Look how creepy that is. Look at these creeps. Look at these creeps. These globalists. They run the world, right? These people, they're such monsters. They're literal monsters. I mean, they are. They're literal monsters. Here we go. There's more photos of Bill Clinton. Did you see this? Here's Bill Clinton and Jeffrey Epstein. They're drawn getting on the Lolita Express. Isn't that amazing? Or, well, it's something, at least. Unidentified young woman on a float. More Chris Tucker. More nude paintings. More lewd paintings. Victims. You've obviously seen some of the Ghislaine Maxwell stuff. Some of these photos are crazy, but this is the one that's making the rounds here. Okay, so I've got to preface this by saying that it may not be Bill Clinton, but it's marked St. Tropez, right? This is a pretty famous island. Clinton, Morocco, nude. So is this Bill Clinton nude on a beach? That is absolutely not Hillary Clinton. Look at the size of the cankles there. Is this Bill Clinton? Is this the one? Is this the smoking gun? Is Bill Clinton there? Obviously, he's been blacked out or blotted out. Is that it? I mean, I'm just an individual here with a YouTube channel, but I got to tell you, that kind of looks like Bill Clinton. I don't know. It's also labeled as Bill Clinton. My producers are telling me that it might be Bill Clinton's Morocco trip. So it's just sharing the name of the CD. Anyway, here is Bill Clinton and the very young woman on the flight. Not Hillary Clinton. Here's Bill Clinton with another very young individual. Mick Jagger had her face blocked out. Here's Bill Clinton with more young individuals who have had their faces blacked out, and Michael Jackson. Bill Clinton with his fist in the air with another young individual, young female with her face blacked out. Bill Clinton and Kevin Spacey. Bill Clinton in the hot tub again. Ladies and gentlemen, Bill Clinton in that pool. More young women with their faces blacked out on a plane. Goodness, what a freaking dog. Bill Clinton, Bill Clinton, Bill Clinton, Bill Clinton. There you go. Bill Clinton. It looks like they
I don't see a lot of Trump. I see a lot of
Clinton.
Clinton.
This is Trump's comms director saying, "Jump man, jump man, jump man. That boy up to something." There you go. Slick Willie, Bill Clinton just chilling without a care in the world. Little did he know he was getting photographed. There you go.
Damn.
That's what's going down. What is going on here? Bill Clinton in a ton of these photos. Sick, says the White House rapid response. Clinton, I hardly knew ye. Bill Clinton's all over these files. This is a massive, massive. Democrats release the Epstein files. The Epstein files. It's all Bill Clinton. And IDF t-shirts. Jeez, not Hillary. That's right. Not Hillary. There's obviously a ton of redactions.
He's having a fucking seizure right now.
The document is called the masseuse list.
If
it was released unredacted, you'd be attacking the DOJ for including the victims' names.
The Democrats wanted to release it.
Oh, wow. A photo without Bill Clinton in it. Sir Richard Branson. Very much not a Virgin Island. Maybe it's time for people to start asking questions. Dear Democrats, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. That's not Hillary. Everyone's saying redacting protects victims, bad faith pandering, grandstanding politicians would rather demagogue and lie than do what's right. That's right. The Epstein Victim Transparency Act was instructed to redact the names and faces of minors. Yep. You can see another of those that famous Bill Clinton painting inside of Epstein's house, right there. And then, yeah, a lot of bad takes out there. I don't know how else. I don't know how you get around this. There's a bathroom with a Bill Clinton picture in it, a Bill Clinton painting of him and Jeffrey Epstein. Oh boy. Okay. She really thought she was going to do it. Hillary really thought she was going to do it. And then just whatever the hell it was. These people are so weird. They're such creeps.
And the fact that the Republicans try to help the Democrats by
Copperfield
not releasing it.
This photo could disappear. Ugh. Yikes. Statement from Bill Clinton. Let's read it. The White House hasn't been hiding these files for months, only to dump them late on a Friday night to protect Bill Clinton. This is about shielding themselves from what comes next, or what they'll try and hide forever. They can release as many grainy 20-plus-year-old photos as they want, but this isn't about Bill Clinton. It never has been, never will be. This is, there are two types of people here. The first group knew nothing about Epstein and cut him off after his crimes came to light. Dude, you're on the plane with all of his victims, taking photos with all these young girls. The second group is continued relationship with him after. We're in the first. No amount of stalling by the president will change that. Everybody except MAGA expect answers, not scapegoats. Yeah, that's a lie. Ghislaine Maxwell was at Bill Clinton's daughter's wedding after his crimes. That's a lie. All of this is a lie. But par for the course for the Clintons. Anyway, R.I.P. Bill Clinton, dude. I'm telling you, this is it's gonna get bad. We'll see what happens. Anyway, thanks for this crash out recording. We'll see you.
Crazy. I mean, it was so more with Clinton than it was Trump. I mean, Trump, yes, they try to get him in the pictures and so forth, but not like in the positions where he's in a bath, like in a hot tub and with some other lady, young lady next to him, naked in the beach with some other lady or girl who knows. Clinton doesn't have like the best record when it comes to that type of stuff. And he's like, I did not have sex. What was it? What did he say? I did not have sexual relations with that woman. And then a few weeks later, I apologize. I did have sexual relations with that woman. It was like, what? And then we're supposed to believe his wife because his wife should know what the fuck he's doing, and yet she let it happen, and also let all these Epstein trips happen, and then we're supposed to have her as president. That'll be the day I die. Crazy as hell. Have Hillary Clinton as president. Shit. She's all part of that deep state shit. A lot of deep state people. Obama's tied into it. Biden's tied into it. He used our own DOJ against Trump, a former president. That all the papers that he had was declassified. Like, they raided Mar-a-Lago for no reason. And they told him not to, but they went ahead still and did it. And the way they were planting the evidence too, because they were planting evidence and they were putting things like, oh, look, this is all left all over the place and this and this and that. Every single one of them should be in prison, right? But when are we going to make accountability great again? When? I'm waiting. I think we'll have a better chance for the asteroid to hit us than we do bringing back accountability. That's for damn sure. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and we got a back-to-back on Tyson de la Cruz. So we're going to get right to it. These are the last two for the night. So I want to get to bed early today. So here we go. We're going to watch Tyson de la Cruz. Set this up. Here we go.
Housing and Urban Development Secretary Scott Turner is slamming the Biden administration for what he calls an illegal immigration and refugee crisis.
America, the Department of Housing and Urban Development just sent federal investigators to Minneapolis and St. Paul after discovering a massive welfare fraud scheme believed to have been carried out by Somalia immigrants. We're talking about $1 billion in taxpayer money siphoned from social services programs to line the pockets of people who were never supposed to be receiving benefits. And now HUD Secretary Scott Turner is putting the entire region on notice that the days of unchecked fraud are over.
The Department of Housing and Urban Development sent federal investigators into Minneapolis and St. Paul, Minnesota. They're examining federal aid programs after discovering a welfare fraud scheme believed to have been carried out by Somali immigrants.
What is up, guys? Tyson de la Cruz here. Thank you
You sold so much money.
with me. This is what happens when you create a welfare system with no accountability, then import populations that immediately figure out how to game the system. I'm the captain now. If people in specific communities, we know which ones, didn't take advantage so much, maybe we wouldn't be seeing such of a crackdown. First, those of you that aren't familiar with it, let me break down the scale of this fraud in Minnesota, because these numbers are absolutely staggering. They just keep getting higher and higher. The primary scandal involved a nonprofit organization called Feeding Our Futures, which we've covered several times on this channel. If you want to check out videos about that, you can see it somewhere in the link above or in the description down below. Feeding Our Future claimed that they provided millions of meals to children during the pandemic and received $300 million in reimbursements from the federal government. And as most of you know, and some may not, the Feeding Our Future scandal was just the tip of the iceberg. The total across Minnesota social services program estimated $1 billion. That's billion with a B. That includes fraudulent claims across multiple programs. We're talking about food assistance, housing assistance, autism, child assistance programs, you name it. Now that we have that brief recap done, HUD Secretary Scott Turner said the department is putting the region on notice that they are taking enforcement and fiscal oversight seriously given the rampant fraud. The arrival of HUD investigators comes after this massive theft was exposed. And now Now they're reviewing the
crazy.
data. Administration has already taken action by cutting funding for Somalians who have temporary protective status. This is the kind of accountability we haven't seen in years. The
They gotta bring
Biden
that shit here to
administration, the
Connecticut.
Joey B administration, let fraud run rampant for 4 years, and now the Trump administration is coming in and cleaning up the mess.
Come on, man.
Now, before we dive deeper into this welfare fraud and what's happening now, I need to talk to you about something that's been driving me absolutely crazy. I am sure you guys are tired of getting scam calls left and right and left. I myself am honestly and thoroughly impressed with today.
Let's keep it going. That will promote.
Created a welfare lifestyle where people solely depend on the federal government to survive. SNAP and all these other government programs are supposed to supplement income, not be something that you rely on forever. HUD Secretary Scott Turner laid out the shocking reality during the testimony before Congress. He said, get this, almost 50% of households that are receiving HUD funds, almost 50, not one person in the household is working. Let that sink in for a moment, guys. Half of households receiving federal housing assistance do not have a single person, not a one, with a job.
Almost 50% of households that are receiving HUD funds, almost 50%, not one person in that household is working.
This is the paradigm that has to change America. Turner said, America is not a welfare state. America is a country of opportunity.
Yeah, they came into vacation on our
The
time.
welfare system has deviated from what it was intended to be. It was intended to be for the most vulnerable and the most
for the
needy in our
disabled.
country. But now we've created welfare as a lifestyle. And here's the general impact that nobody's talking about. Turner visited one of the public housing authorities and spoke with the resident who said that they've been living in the project since 1973. That means she was born there or moved there shortly after birth. Her mother probably raised her there. Her grandmother probably lived there. And now she's raising her children there.
I was visiting one of our public housing authorities, the residents that live there in the city in our country. And I was visiting with them about the deplorable conditions that they live in one of our public housing authorities, which we're taking inventory of all of those as well. And I heard the story, the testimony of one young lady said, I have been living in this public housing authority in this project since 1973.
3 generations living in the same public housing projects. That, my friends, is not a safety net. That is a trap, a straight up trap. That is a system that destroys families and communities by making them dependent on the government instead of teaching them self-sufficiency. Now, here's where the Trump administration is making some real change. Secretary Turner, along with RFK Jr., Brooke Rollins, and Dr. Oz, wrote an op-ed in the New York Times suggesting new qualifications to receive welfare benefits.
Then
The
it's
key requirement, able-bodied adults receiving benefits must work,
able-bodied is the
participate
one.
in job training, or volunteer in their communities. Forget this, at least 20 hours a week. This is common sense compassion. Work restores dignity. Work brings pride. We're not talking about the elderly. We're not talking about those who are disabled. We're talking about able-bodied people.
Yeah, the able-bodied ones.
people who are receiving HUD funding should go to work and restore their dignity.
Able-bodied adults receiving benefits must work, participate in job training, or volunteer in their communities at least 20 hours a week.
Turner made a great point. You get up early in the morning and you go to work and you serve. We want to give other people and encourage others the same opportunity. This is a paradigm shift that will help encourage able-bodied people in America that are receiving government subsidies to actually work. In that study that I mentioned earlier, about 50% of households receiving HUD funds don't have one person working. That culture, that paradigm has to change. At HUD, in my opinion, this is common sense compassion. They want to help people and invigorate and encourage people to actually get up and freaking work.
Now we've created welfare as a lifestyle in our country. And America is not a welfare state. America is a country of opportunity. And so this will help us to encourage able-bodied people in America that are receiving government subsidies to work. And that has to change.
Honestly, I think this will be a catalyst of change in the trajectory of lives in our country. If young people are incentivized to work, that will change our culture, increase earnings, increase family stability. This is about the rehabilitation and reconciliation of families. Now let's connect this welfare fraud to the broader housing crisis that the Biden administration for what Scott Turner calls an illegal immigration and refugee crisis that has destroyed the housing market. The report found the increased immigration has driven up housing prices. As we've said this several times on this channel, straining the market and pricing out many Americans. An estimated 15 million illegal immigrants constitute 30% of all foreign-born residents, and nationally, the foreign-born population account for over 60% of the growth in rental demand.
The agency finding that increased immigration has driven up housing prices, straining the market and pricing out many Americans.
Compare that figure with 13% growth from non-citizens back in 2019. The growth in rental demand from foreign-born populations has exploded under the Biden administration's open border policies. Secretary Turner said,
when you have over 12 million people coming over our borders unchecked, unvetted, this is straining our housing market from a supply standpoint, from an affordability standpoint.
Now, some real estate advisors are trying to claim that immigration isn't to blame for this housing mess, but rather underbuilding.
Saying the U.S. is short 4 to 7 million homes.
That's
which
not
does
true.
Impact affordability.
Like, not every
But here's the
American
thing,
buy a home.
both can be true at the same time. Yes, we need more housing, but when you add 12 million people to the country in 4 years, you're going to strain the housing market no matter how much you build. The HUD report used a research from the 2023 American Housing Survey, and the numbers are absolutely damning for Biden's open border policies.
Between 2021 and 2024, the foreign-born population went up by around 6 million people, which HUD says is the biggest spike that we've seen over such a short period of time, actually in American history.
And here's the kicker. Immigration accounts for up to 100% of housing demand growth in some regions, and for 2/3 of rental demand growth nationwide. Let me repeat that. In some parts of America, 100% of the increased demand for housing is coming from foreign-born populations. The report specifically calls out, you guessed it, California and New York as regions where immigration had the highest impact in housing demand, which makes sense because those are sanctuary states that actively encourage illegal immigration.
Also, the number of households headed by non-citizens, that almost doubled in growth speed after 2019. So from 2015 to 2019, non-citizen households grew by like 7%. And then from 2019 to 2023, that growth jumped to 13%. So almost 50% spike.
So when people ask, why is rent so expensive? Why is it so hard to find affordable housing? Why young Americans can't move out from their parents' house? This is why, my friends. The Biden administration flooded the country with millions of people who needed housing, and American citizens are the ones paying the price. Since taking office, the Trump administration is taking steps to limit undocumented immigrants from accessing federal housing programs. This includes canceling certain refugee contracts and making changes to existing legislation to ensure that American citizens are prioritized for housing assistance. Secretary Turner has been clear about HUD's mission: maximize the budget they have and make sure they're serving American peoples in the critical programs that support American families, not illegal immigrants, not refugees who just arrived, American citizens who have been paying into their system their entire life. The Trump administration is also working with Congress on the Working Families Tax Cut Act, which includes verification requirements to ensure the federal benefits only go to people who are legally eligible to receive them. For years, you guys, there was no proper verification system in place, which is how the Minnesota fraud was able to continue for so long. House Majority Whip Tom Emmer explained while the law prohibits using federal funds for illegal immigrants, they didn't have verification tools in place to enforce the law. That's why they put verification requirements in the new legislation to make sure taxpayer money goes to American taxpayers, not people who shouldn't be in our country in the first place. The HUD investigation in Minnesota is just the beginning. Federal authorities are now auditing every aspect of Minnesota's social services program to determine the full extent of the fraud. And what they're finding is that it wasn't just a few bad actors. This was systematic exploitation of federal programs by organized groups.
In the past 3 years, 87 people have been charged, 61 convicted, most of Somali descent.
These weren't isolated incidents as somebody making a mistake on their application. These were organized criminal empires set up specifically to defraud the federal government. And here's what makes this Even more outrageous, some of the House Republicans on the Oversight Committee announced that they're launching their own investigation into allegations that some of that stolen money could have went to overseas terrorist groups. Federal investigators say there's no evidence yet, but the fact that it's even being investigated shows that there is some potential. The Somalia community in Minnesota is now bracing for a crackdown. About 84,000 people of Somalia descent live in Minnesota, St. Paul area, and many of them are worried about the increased scrutiny. But here's the reality. If your community wasn't responsible for $1 billion in welfare fraud, you probably wouldn't be facing any increased scrutiny. America, the Minnesota welfare fraud scandal exposes everything wrong with how we've been running social services in this country. $1 billion stolen, 50% of HUD households with nobody working, 3 generations living in the same public housing projects, illegal immigrants flooding the housing market and pricing out American citizens. HUD Secretary Scott Turner is dismantling the welfare lifestyle that Democrats have created, working requirements to able-bodied adults, verification systems to potentially prevent fraud, cutting funding for populations that have been gamed in the system, and prioritizing American citizens over illegal immigrants for housing assistance. The Minnesota Somalia community is upset that they're being scrutinized after stealing $1 billion in taxpayer money. But here's what nobody in the mainstream media wants to say. If you come to America and immediately start defrauding federal programs, you are not a refugee seeking a better life. You are a criminal exploiting American generosity. The crackdown isn't happening because of racism or Islamophobia. It's happening because fraud has consequences. After 4 years of the Joey Biden administration letting people run wild, accountability is back. Let me know what you think about this. Drop it down in the comment section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe, and as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.
All right, let's go to the next one. That's the last one of the night, so let's enjoy.
In SNAP benefits. The fraud was shocking and glaring.
America, I need you to understand the scale of what just got exposed in Boston. 2 store owners were arrested for trafficking nearly $7 million in SNAP benefits through storefronts smaller than your bedroom, but somehow processing more food stamps than full-scale supermarkets. The FBI caught them red-handed, exchanging benefits for cash, selling liquor with food stamps. But here's the part that's going to make your blood boil. They were selling Manna Pack meals, which is donated food meant for starving children in disaster zones, for $8 a pack out of their fraud stores. This is taxpayer money being stolen while they profited off of food intended for dying kids overseas.
This alleged fraud happened here in Massachusetts under the current system. It only involved 2 individuals and it resulted in millions of dollars in losses.
What is up, guys? Tyson Dela Cruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. Now, SNAP benefit fraud has been going on for a long time. People selling food stamps for cash so they can buy drugs and other things. Apparently, some of you guys didn't know about this, but to be honest, this is the first time that I've seen this type of fraud at this scale. These 2 basically opened makeshift 7-Elevens and turned them into a multi-million-dollar criminal enterprise. Let me break down just how absurd this fraud scheme was. Antonio Bonner, 74 years old, originally from Haiti, owned the Jasuela Variety Store, a tiny 150 square foot storefront that's smaller than most people's bedrooms. Saul Alisme, 20 years old, from Hyde Park, owned Saul Michi Mix Store, whatever that is, which was about 500 square feet. Both storefronts operated with a single facing storefront in neighborhoods in Boston. Now, here's where it's become almost impossible to explain. Despite their limited size, inventory, and food offerings, both stores exhibited extraordinarily high SNAP redemption volumes, far beyond what could reasonably be supported by legitimate food sales. The monthly SNAP redemptions for Jasuela Variety Store regularly exceeded $100,000. Many months exceeded $300,000. At times, they hit $500,000 per month. Compare that to a full-size supermarket in the same area that redeems approximately only $82,000 per month in SNAP benefits.
These men abused one of the government's most critical safety net programs for their own financial gain.
This is taxpayer money meant to keep people from going hungry. These defendants decide to take it for themselves. Think about what this means. A 150 square foot store, that's smaller than most people's living rooms, was processing more food stamp transactions than supermarkets with full aisles of groceries, fresh produce sections, and meat departments. That's not business. That is a fraud operation.
They were not full service grocery.
The only thing convenient about these stores was how easy it was to commit SNAP benefit fraud. Now let's look at the transaction data, because this is where the fraud becomes almost undeniable. The FBI analyzed transaction patterns at both storefronts, and what they found was absolutely shocking. Only approximately 10% of SNAP transactions were for the amounts under $40. Meanwhile, more than 70% of transactions exceeded $95. Those transaction patterns are typically associated with larger supermarkets where families are doing their weekly grocery shopping, not small variety stores with limited food inventory. Think about what you could possibly buy in a 150 square foot store. Maybe some Doritos, Cheetos, chips, candy, soda, maybe a few canned goods. You are not doing a $95 grocery run at a storefront that size. You're not filling up a cart with food for your family. The only way those transaction amounts make sense is if the store owners were exchanging SNAP benefits for cash. And that is exactly what the FBI caught them doing. During an undercover operation conducted at both businesses over the course of this investigation, SNAP benefits were trafficked for cash on 4 occasions at the Jasuela variety store and 2 occasions at the Mix store.
The defendants themselves were working the cash registers, and both exchanged SNAP benefits for cash.
This wasn't some rogue employee running a side hustle. This was the owner of the supposed store personally conducting the fraud operation. Both stores were also observed selling liquor in exchange for SNAP benefits, which is a violation of federal law. So not only were they trafficking benefits for cash, they were also letting people buy liquor with food stamps. This is the kind of fraud that destroys the integrity of the entire SNAP program. Now here's where the story goes from fraud to absolutely disgusting. The FBI found that both stores were selling Manna Pack meals, a donated food product manufactured by the nonprofit Feed My Starving Children. Now let me explain what Manna Pack meals are, because I had no idea what they were. These meals are paid for entirely by charitable donations. They're intended for shipment and distribution to food insecure children in disaster zones overseas. They were never authorized for retail sale. Ever. These are meals that people donated money to provide starving children in a place like Haiti, Somalia, and other countries experiencing humanitarian crisis.
These products are not for sale anywhere.
Wow.
Yet Bonner and Elise May were selling them in their stores for nearly $10 a pack, profiting from food literally intended for starving children in disaster zones.
Profited from food literally intended for starving children in disaster zones. Think about the level of moral bankruptcy required to do this. Somebody donated money to feed a starving child in a refugee camp. That money was used to manufacture nutritious meals specifically designed for malnutrition children. Those meals were supposed to be shipped overseas for free distribution. Instead, these two criminals intercepted them and sold them for profit in their fraud stores. The defendants allegedly sold donated Manna Pack meals in their stores for approximately $8 to $10 per package. That's $8 to $10 for food that was supposed to be free for starving children. And people were probably buying them with fraudulently obtained SNAP benefits, which means taxpayers were paying twice. Once for SNAP benefits and again for charitable donations that funded the meals. They weren't just stealing from taxpayers. They were stealing from starving children from the poorest countries on earth. According to the charging documents, both stores carried little legitimate food inventory and generated minimal lawful revenue. The defendants relied almost entirely on USDA-funded SNAP redemptions as their source of income. This wasn't a real business supplemented by fraud. This was a fraud operation pretending to be a business. To conceal the nature and source of these funds, funds, the defendants maintained numerous secondary bank accounts through which SNAP proceeds were transferred, withdrawn as cash, and redeposited to create the appearance of legitimate business activity while obscuring the true source of the funds. This, my friends, is classic money laundering. They take the SNAP redemption money, move it through multiple accounts, pull it out as cash, then redeposit it to make it look like legitimate business revenue. They were running a sophisticated criminal operation disguised as a corner store.
Yeah, it's a huge program. $100 billion a year spent for 42 million Americans. It's about 1 in 8 households get SNAP benefits. It costs about $8 billion per month.
And when you have a program that large with minimal oversight, you create opportunities for fraud on a massive scale. The FBI recovered electronic devices and digital evidence that will likely reveal the full extent of the conspiracy, whether there are additional co-conspirators who haven't been arrested yet. Because here's the thing, these two guys didn't figure it out on their own. This is the kind of fraud scheme that requires knowledge on how the SNAP system works, how to avoid detection, and how to launder the proceeds. Each defendant is charged with 1 count of food stamp fraud greater than $100. The charge carries a maximum sentence up to 5 years in prison, 3 years of supervised release, and a fine of $250,000. Both defendants are being held without bail and made their initial court appearance on December 15th at a federal courthouse in downtown Boston. The details contained in their charging documents are allegations, and defendants are presumed innocent unless and until proven guilty beyond reasonable doubt. But let's be real, the FBI has undercover operations on video, transaction data showing impossible redemption values, and evidence of them selling donated food for starving children. This isn't a case where there's any doubt about what actually happened. The only question is how many years they're going to spend in federal prison. Now, this Boston case is just one example of a much bigger problem that got exposed during the recent government shutdown.
The shutdown's impact on the food assistance SNAP program for millions of low-income Americans also exposed clear opportunities for reform and accountability that could save taxpayers billions of dollars.
Rachel O'Brien from OpenTheBooks.com broke down the scale of the SNAP program and the fraud within it. The Government Accountability Office put out an audit about SNAP recipients who reported that their benefits were actually stolen. That's only recipients who filed claims to get their stolen benefits replaced, and they're limited to file a maximum of 2 claims per year. This, my friends, is very underreported. It doesn't account for intended fraud, people who are getting SNAP benefits who were lying about their income or who were able to access benefits that they shouldn't have qualified for in the first place.
So that's someone who has a SNAP card, someone else was able to access the card and access the benefits. So $320 million stolen in the last 2 years. It's such a low ball figure.
And here's the kicker. These SNAP cards don't have microchips in most instances. California just added microchips. There are 6 more states looking at them. Microchips protect these cards. They're standard in debit and credit cards, but most SNAP cards are still using outdated technology that makes them easier to steal and easier to fraud.
It's amazing. So that was fraud, right? We're talking, this is just ineptitude.
Yeah.
So this is just $10.5 billion in improper payments in fiscal year 2024.
That is a 12% improper payment rate. That means 12% of the money going out the door for SNAP benefits shouldn't be being spent. The vast majority of that $10.5 billion is due to what they say a failure to access data or information needed. So it's not fraud, it's theft. It's simply they're not getting the information they need, but they're letting those benefits go out the door anyway. The amount has grown significantly over years. A decade ago, it was 3%. 5 years ago, it was less than 7%. And now it's 12%. The more that the program grows, the more fraud and waste will continue. This is what happens when you prioritize expanding programs over protecting them from abuse. The Boston case isn't isolated. This is happening in cities across America. Small stores with impossible transaction values, benefits being exchanged for cash, donated food being stolen for profit, and the USDA and state agencies can't detect or won't do anything about it.
SNAP benefits are supposed to be used to help feed some of the most vulnerable Americans. But police say that was not the case at a store on Lorraine Avenue in Cleveland.
In Cleveland, for example, investigators busted another fraud scheme where there were around 17,000 illegal transactions that took place. Somewhere in the neighborhood of $100,000 was recovered from that investigation. Agents say those benefits were illegally traded for cash, clothes, and even appliances. This is the pattern. Small stores in low-income neighborhoods become fraud hubs where people can exchange their SNAP benefits for cash at a discount. The store owners pocket the difference, and the benefits that were supposed to feed families end up funding drug habits, criminal enterprises, and luxury purchases. The investigator said exchanging SNAP benefits for cash is one of the most common forms of trafficking for the SNAP program, and it's happening in every major city in America. Boston just happened to be the biggest case that we've ever seen. America, two Boston store owners just got arrested for trafficking nearly $7 million in SNAP benefits through their tiny storefronts that were processing more food stamp transactions than a full-service supermarket. They sold donated food intended for starving children overseas. They exchanged benefits for cash and liquor. They laundered the proceeds through multiple bank accounts to hide their fraud. The government shutdown exposed that $10.5 billion in improper SNAP payments went out the door last year. Benefit theft is massively underreported. Most SNAP cards don't even have basic security features like microchips, and fraud schemes like the Boston case are operating in cities across America. But here's what the people from the previous administration in Washington don't want to admit. When you create a $100 billion program with minimal oversight and outdated technology, you're not helping the vulnerable. You're creating opportunities for criminals. The Boston defendants weren't feeding hungry families. They were running a criminal enterprise that exploited taxpayer generosity while selling food meant for starving children. And until both parties demand real accountability and modern fraud prevention, this will keep happening in every city with lax enforcement and politicians who care more about expanding programs than protecting them from abuse. Let me know what you think about this. Drop it down in the comment section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe, and as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.
For a great upload there, man. But this fraud is everywhere. It's in every city. It's in all over the country. It's like cancer. It's everywhere, and it's terminal. And how are we going to fix that problem? Because like those programs were set up for those that are disabled and seniors and for the younglings, but it's been abused and by all these immigrants that came through, and they put them all in these programs, and it's like a leech, and it's sucking all the fucking blood and taking all the money, and they're making TikTok videos and videos on YouTube, like making fun of people, like, yeah, go to work, Americans, make all that money. I eat 5 meals. So what's it? 5 meals a day. Like, and then he's mocking, like he was mocking the people and stuff. I was like, man, let me see if I have that video. I don't know where I saw that video, but I saw that video and it's just like, it pissed me off because it was like, you know, this Somalian, you know, he looks very abled, and yet we're supporting his ass and feeding his ass. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Let me see. I want to see if I can find the video. I watch too much YouTube. Who's guilty of watching too much YouTube? I'm guilty of watching too much YouTube. I'm gonna try to see if I can find it. Yeah, let me see if I can find it. See something here. Yeah, people are saying that the 3i Atlas is not a comet. That's some crazy shit, man. That's like the biggest. Like, you don't understand how huge this event that's happening right now is, and nobody is talking about it. That is crazy. Crazy to me. That's just like, what else could you call it? I call it crazy. Damn, my back is hurting already. I'm about to get off of this because I'm already done. I know I saw the video somewhere. Like I said, I watched too much of them YouTube. But really good shows, so this I don't know if it was this one. Let me see. Let me check first. Yeah, this is it. Oh, found you, motherfucker. This is gonna make our blood boil. Okay. And this is coming from I Am Local. Okay, that's the name of the channel. I Am Local. I am not subscribed, and I don't think I will. But let me set it up. And this is going to be the last video of the night. Just to piss us off for the night. I'm sorry, but yeah, I'm not. Let's watch.
You work all fucking day, you don't got shit. Thank you for working so hard to be home all day. Free. I can use my tea. Go to work for me, white boy, white girl. Yeah. Go to work for me, you animals. Fuck work for me. Yeah, you work for me. And the US government they work for me. All of you work for me. Now go to work. Pay them taxes. Take care of me and my people. All right? This is my land. I control this place. This is my reality. You all gonna be enchained. I'm gonna lock all you.
And this is exactly the kind of people ICE is taking down. Minneapolis tells a story a lot of people don't want to hear. This was a targeted ICE vehicle stop, not a raid. 2 individuals, specific operation. Then the chaos starts. A crowd swarms federal agents. Tensions explode. Windows are shattered. At that moment, control is slipping. So agents pull the driver and passenger. That's not aggression. That's it. It isn't an option.
Stop! Okay, again.
You guys get out of here. You guys get out of here.
Viewing ground, pinned face down in the snow. Tasers are deployed. Tear gas follows as the crowd presses in. Protesters throw snowballs, and people downplay that. But in an already volatile scene, that's escalation, not peaceful protest.
How did it get there so fast?
Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hara criticizes ICE, pointing to de-escalation training. Fine, local policing and federal enforcement operate under very different realities.
The unsafe or questionable tactics by other agencies that are here. We have been training our officers for the last 5 years very, very intensely on de-escalation. But unfortunately, that is often not what we are seeing for agencies in the city.
Sanctuary policies have already done serious damage the immigration process by offering entry illegally. And this conflict you see between federal and state authorities is coming out of it.
All these people's faces should be recorded, and they should go to their house and get them.
This is God bless America.
They're not supposed to here. They're
Go home.
Go home. They're in America. They are home.
Just trying to get through.
You go
They
home.
couldn't get the first person.
You go to your country that you came from.
There was literally no reason. They were just sitting in
What she leaves out is the truth. They're here illegally. The moment ICE steps in, they play the victim. Then they go online and mock the law-abiding, tax-paying Americans who actually do things the right way.
Freeloader. I get everything for free while you work 50 hours a week. Ha ha, boo boo. Your favorite Somalian freeloader. Hey, thank you for your tax dollar. I'm eating really good. Thank you for taking care of me. I love you, Americans. You've been such a hospitality. Not hostility. You show us hospitality. That's good. Because of your tax dollar, I get to eat 5 times a day. Before, it was 80 cents. They used to send us back in Africa, 80 cents. Now, I get this EBT card loaded each month with 400 to 500. The freeloader, your favorite freeloader. I'm enjoying myself.
Even violence. Operation Metro Surge is the latest ICE enforcement push in Minnesota. The Department of Homeland Security says over the last 2 weeks, they've arrested 400 people, including, they say, pedophiles, rapists, and violent thugs. It is true that there's a sprawling multi-million-dollar fraud investigation of a COVID-era fund and that dozens of Somali Americans have been charged. Protesters are urged to stick to the law, but in this crowd, some appear to step over the line. An ICE spokesperson told us their officers sustained injuries and that they had objects and death threats hurled at them.
Federal authorities raided the offices of the Somali-owned Ultimate Home Health as part of an investigation into a massive Minnesota Medicaid fraud scheme. Prosecutors allege that individuals connected to the operation stole hundreds of millions of dollars from taxpayers.
What the hell's going on here?
What's going on?
That's what she said.
Yeah. Relax. Now get down. Down. You down now.
Huh?
Oh,
So they're arresting all the roofers? You sound Mexican. Are they Mexican roofers? Damn, these people are fucked.
Look at this.
They don't have their roof.
Oh, that's a shame. Oh my God.
Wow. What you're seeing here is the full picture, not the clipped version going viral.
FBI is crazy.
An illegal roofing crew is detained. The woman stalking and interfering with agents is detained. And the homeowner who hired them, also detained.
What?
Now watch closely. The so-called victim video that gets posted online conveniently out 1 second before the handcuffs went on. This wasn't random. This wasn't targeting. This was enforcement. Nice try spinning it. And credit where it's due. Solid work by our federal agents.
No, excuse me. That's a woman. Where's the lady officer? Get the lady officer. Get the lady officer.
Hands against the tree.
For what? What are you arresting me for? Why?
Because.
Why are you touching me? What have I done to you?
Get back! Get back!
Hey, okay. Okay, no. No.
I'll be honest. Watching these arrest videos is oddly satisfying because it shows the law actually being enforced. No speeches, no excuses, just accountability. If you're here illegally and breaking the rules, the outcome is simple: thrown out of country.
Yeah, a lot of them. Shit. Damn, even the whole family, everybody. All these people taking pictures and stuff. They need to like. Why are they there? Like another one. Another one. Damn, they're just getting them. Another one. Damn. Just get them all.
Let's go, move back! Get out the way! Get out the way!
Another one.
I'm against the wall! Get out the way! Don't touch me. Don't push me.
Don't push me. I just meant to go to
Just relax.
No needing a nada más.
Another one. Damn, man. That was. Hey, listen, that should put a smile on every American's face. Gotta get them out of here one way or another. They don't want to go voluntarily. Well, guess what? You're gonna get thrown out one way or another. They're coming for you. So, what you gonna do? Take the offer, get the ticket. Here's $1,000. Get the fuck out. And with that said, have a good morning, good afternoon, and good night. And I'll catch you on the flip side. I'll be back on here. Hopefully, I don't know if I'm going to be here tomorrow or the weekend because I've been enjoying the weekends off lately. So I want everyone to enjoy their weekend. Unless something breaks or something like breaking news that I got to come on here, then I'll come on. But I'll probably take the weekend off, and you should too. Enjoy the weekend. It's pretty windy out over here. It rained a lot. So it's going to get pretty cold, and we might get snow before Christmas. I don't know how much snow yet. They've been saying about an inch or two of snow before Christmas, the 23rd. I hope it's more. I want more. Like, drop like 5 inches. I'll be so happy. I'll be so happy. But so far, it looks like it's going to be about an inch of snow, an inch to 2 inches of snow. I mean, it's something. And it's if it holds up until Christmas, then we might have a white Christmas. But it's going to be close. I think the snow will melt before. If it's only an inch, it'll melt. But it looks like no snow for Christmas. But it's okay. Let's see. Yeah, it's gonna be windy tonight, so that's about it here in Connecticut. And for you guys in the world, thank you for watching. I appreciate it so much. And I'll see you on Monday if nothing breaks, because I hope nothing gets crazy or like 3A Atlas decides to like want to come and throw some probes at us and it turns into a fucking Independence Day. Like, holy shit, didn't we just watch like 3 of these movies and now there's like another one? But this is a real life one. That'd be fucking pretty cool. I mean, what would Jesus do? Holy moly. The train of truth is here, and I am seeing my way out. I love when the train passes. Thank you for watching. I'll see y'all Monday. Peace.